When you look at classical portraiture and paintings, you can see how the way they use lighting and shadow to focus in on the narrative and the subject. I tend to use the same techniques in my work. My name is Trevor Godinho, and today we're talking about a touch of drama, which is all about creating dramatic portraiture using Elinchrom lights. I never thought I would be a photographer. My original goal was to be an animator. My background is fine art. So my inspiration's originally Caravaggio, which is one of the greatest masters of light ever. What they do with portraiture almost makes like their paintings jump off the frame. It's something that's inspired my photography and inspired me to create the images I create. I like to shoot harsh light. And if you look at stuff like Caravaggio, where a lot of his work is very harsh lit stuff. So I tend to shoot a lot like this kind of imagery for a lot of my males, a lot of soldiers I shoot, because there's a different kind of narrative I'm trying to tell. The viewer pretty much reads the narrative that the photographer is selling. If I shoot in a certain way, certain lighting, certain angles, the story may not be the same story that's actually happening, it's the story I want to tell. Photograph a subject, you also have to find the right location for them. If you don't have a right location, throw up a seamless white background always works. But most times if you have the right location, use it because they will tell so much to that story that you're trying to tell. A location can add to a narrative or take away from a narrative. If the location doesn't fit the subject, you're going to have two clashing narratives. It is our job to tell people stories, and we have to be very careful how we tell those stories and how we show our work and what we're planning to say in angles and lighting and how you could change that story. If I take a war vet and photograph them at a carnival, it won't have the narrative that you want to say. It may be ironic, but it's not the story you want to tell. You want to be as authentic to the voice of yourself as well as authentic to the voice of the person that's giving them their time. There are a lot of situations where you may not have all the time you want with a subject. Especially when you're shooting celebrities, you never know what their schedules and how things are going to move. You may plan for half an hour, you may actually get 5 minutes, and that 5 minutes after talking to them and greeting them, getting them settled, may only be 30 seconds. How do you deal with that pressure? How do you create that image? So the answer to that question is, be prepared. I have a recipe for success. My recipe is all about research, planning, keeping things simple, communication, focus, and making use of that time. Where most photographers think about their equipment first, I tend to do a little research about who I'm shooting. Because if you don't know the person, how can you capture them in a way which is authentic to them? In the planning stage, it also allows you to know how to light them. You kind of want to be able to see the best attractive way to capture the person. A lot of people, just because they have equipment, they like to use everything. Just because you have 18 pairs of lights doesn't mean you need to bring 18 pairs of lights to a set. You'll spend more time setting it up than actually working. One of the best things about the ELB 500s, it's one piece of equipment. It's two heads that are connected to one battery pack that you can shoot in the studio. It has live charging, and you can also take it on set. Normally, I tend to only use one light for a lot of my stuff, just because I've shot in closets. Like, sometimes when you're working with subjects, all they have is a closet, and they stick you in the closet, so you put in a backdrop and you work with that. So I tend to stick to one light sometimes. The bigger sets, I have more than one light, like this kind of setup. Having one piece of equipment makes things simple and easy. Next thing is communication. Your intent is very important. If you can't tell your subject what you want from them, they can never give you what you want, and you'll only be frustrated with each other. If you look at great photographers, they're able to produce work really quick. Main reason is they have their canned shot lists, which they have to do for either their magazine editors or for their clients. They come in, bang, bang, bang. My way of working is I come in, shoot my canned shots, like portrait here, portrait here. Focus on the shots you need to get. Get that out of the way so you can be more creative afterwards. Most times, clients and editors tend to pick out the images from the experimental over the canned shots. Even when I'm doing that, I still have some stuff which is creative, which I've actually tested prior to even showing up on set. And always make use of your time. You have to be in and out and get that shot. And it's all about being able to get that moment and create that moment where it's so organic. Try to be present. See what's happening. Yes, you have lights and you have the camera settings and all this stuff, but the most important thing is being able to catch that singular moment where that subject gives you that magical spark, because you can't redo that again. You need to be able to be aware of what's going on with you and around you at the same time as you're shooting. This allows you to capture those iconic images that you can't replicate.